you're going to hate me for this if you're and you are connoisseurs of. I'm seeing a Halloween. I'm seeing Camp Crystal Lake behind you, Pearson. So you guys know it. But I've seen a lot of books and either a lion or a dog behind Julian. So
that's a lion.
Amazing. But yeah, I mean, so there's two. I'll say two. So for me, I do really like Sinister. I do, and it's some people. Some people don't like it. So some people really don't like it. But the reason why I like Sinister is because I think it's my second choice will be this exact reason as well. But before it, Sinister, there's been so long since the Friday the 13th, the Halloween's, the all of the kind of character based horror, where it was like slasher, like where it's like you've got somebody or something. It's a bit mysterious. It's a bit supernatural. They're the person killing or doing stuff. And it's been a long, long time since we felt that as a character. And Bagul obviously then came up and it was a bit supernatural. Ethan Hawke is an amazing actor. And it was that fear. I love Super 8 as well. I'm a sucker for like a handheld, weird, grainy Super 8. Like I love that stuff. So the premise of it, I was hooked. I was like, and the videos of the shock factor of like, it's coming, they're going to watch another video and it's going to be horrible. And and the supernatural, dubious moments in there, but great jump factor. I just thought it's really original in its nature, which I thought is very hard to do, I'm sure, in horror at the moment.
No, I agree. It was when I watched that for the first time, it was really refreshing, like I said, because like the paranormal stuff started getting like a hold of what I mean? It was that's all you saw coming into the cinema all the time. You know what I mean? And then something like Sinister came out, and as you said, like Bagul as a character is just creepy as fuck to begin with. But those scenes with the Super 8, like they come on and it's really, it's really uneasy. Yeah,
the lawnmower bit is one of the jumpiest moments where you're like, what? Because that's the best bit about it, because you're like, what's happening? Like the first shot of the hanging of the tree where it cuts, and you're like, oh my god. And I'm a sucker as well for a horrific ending. And it was the classic. There's no happy ending, man. Like we're not going to.
That's so rare in horror to have unhappy ending,
especially these days, man. Like know, I'm not a huge hater of like Insidious and stuff like, because I do actually think they play a part in the horror industry, like a bit more acceptable, and they probably pull a lot of people into horror. I think things like Insidious, and I really like them actually. Got a bit Alice in Wonderland in places, but like I love them, and for that very reason that I prefer Sinister, because Insidious, what are the other ones you've got? What's the ones that's about the Warrens? So you've got
the Conjuring,
Annabelle, those kind of things. They all, for a fact, you are gonna get to a stage. They're either gonna do the corny like, is it all over thing, or they're gonna do it's a happy ending. Everyone's fine. And that's the one thing with like Sinister that didn't do that, and Sinister 2 didn't do that. And I was quite a fan of Sinister 2 as well, which is people don't like it, but I think everyone's going to hate on it because it's a bit, it's the second one. But then the other one that I was going to say, and it's not really a horror, but it's more slasher, is, I mean, I would argue one of the greatest franchises of all time, and the only one to battle against the Halloweens and the Friday the 13th is Saw. Like it is one of the, bar the last two because they were fucking awful. But like, I would say that Saw is the last proper one like that, where it's slasher. I mean, there was nothing, and we're talking about original. Like Bagul's not original, but it's really nice to see it resurgence. Saw, nothing like it.
There was like torture porn in it. That's what's like what they call it. But there was nothing like it.
Hostel tried to do, but Hostel did it so badly. and Hostel was terrible. And I really hated Hostel because I thought it was like a really poor man's Saw. And I think with Saw, the psychological element of it made it. Yes, you knew the traps and they were going to be horrible and it was going to be gross and like you're going to see someone's hand chopped off or something, which is rough. But it was more rough than anything. But him as Jigsaw, what an evil character. A guy who's dying of cancer, who's frail. It has never been done. I'm telling you, it's never been done.
Yeah, it is fantastic. I love just the twist in the first one alone speaks
volumes. The second and third, where they're running parallel. At bit, you're like, oh my
trying to get your head around it. This isn't a sequel. This is going on at the same time. Oh, mate.
It was nuts. But then I'm also, you know, we mentioned before, like I could talk to you guys about horror movies for another hour and a half, but like I'm
Yeah. It's just
I
an
was a
excuse
big,
to get you back, Danny.
that's it, yeah, I was a big I was a fan of Paranormal Activity when it came out, because I actually thought it was like, you know, low budget. It was one of the lowest budget horror movies of all time, really. And that was not happy. There was no happy ending at the end of Paranormal Activity. You were like, and the Paranormal Activity 2, I would say, is the best of all of them, with the roving camera stuff, the jump moments. But again, exactly the same feeling as Sinister, which was like, you knew when something speeds up on the camera and it stops, something's coming.
Yeah, you start shitting yourself
And
already.
that's
You're
the
like,
bit,
oh,
man.
fuck,
Like,
here we go.
yeah, and the same as Sinister, they did quite a lot right at the start, which they didn't do the Super 8 bit. He was watching bits but didn't see it, or Bagul was on the camera and he turned and did those jump moments. But like with Paranormal Activity, they did so much that psychologically it messed me up for weeks, because I sat there with like noise cancelling headphones on. Dav, so this is a cool story, and I will stop talking about it. But Dav said to me, I'd never watched Paranormal Activity, wasn't really interested, not bothered. Dav's a massive movie buff and loves horror movies, and he loves cartoons. He is probably better for this than me, but he said to me, oh, Paranormal Activity 2's coming out. Do you want to go and see it at the cinema? And I was like, I haven't seen number 1. He's like, watch it tonight. And it was the next day, watch it tonight. And so I watched it at like 1 a.m, noise cancelling headphones downstairs. I used to live with my parents, like downstairs in a house, older house. It wasn't old, but it was an older house, so it creaks and stuff. So I'm sat there with noise cancelling headphones on, and the noisescape. If you ever want to go back, go and watch Paranormal Activity with proper noise cancelling headphones, because it travels and they'll do creaks. And what they did, and I watched like a making of, is that they recorded a normal house sound. So what they did was they made normal house sound scary. So there's moments where you just hear someone walk and you'd be like, is that a creak? And then it stopped. Or you'd hear a boiler turn on. And so they did that to mess with people's brains. So when it did step up, and it stepped up quickly when it started going, so like the sheet fell off, and was it the sheet fall off, or did they knock it off? And I like, whoever planned that in storyboarding is an absolute genius. Like, and so, yeah, I mean, that messed me up, because then I was laying in bed the next night, and something would creak, and I'd be like, oh, I just started doubting myself completely. But yeah, that's a sign of a great horror movie there, especially a psychological one.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, man, definitely. I mean, after he got to like the 7th one, I was kind of fucking drained from it. I was like, why?
Ghost dimension. It all got a bit of Adventure Time to me, but like, I would say number 3 is one of the best ever horror movies until the last 10 minutes where you see the witches. That was the bit that just, I was like, rubbish. Marked Ones was really good because it was completely different. I thought that was a fantastic movie, but yeah, Ghost Dimension and stuff. It's like, what? Yeah. But saying that, and I could go on about Paranormal Activity for ages, but the clever bit, I hated the movie number 4, which was I think that might have been Ghost Dimension or something. But number 4, they introduced the Kinect, which I thought was an inspired thing to do. And they basically, the Kinect, you know how Kinects work, right? They shoot out thousands of laser beams into they're always shooting it out. So when you come and wave at it, it pops up. So they shot that so you could see the laser beams. And so if you haven't seen it, it's really cool, because she's playing Kinect and you see the laser beams, and then you see it pick an outline of someone behind her and walk past. It was like genius. I was like, and you see it and you'd walk past. So you'd see, and you know, like, because it's dots, you wouldn't see like the proper, like, that's a person. You just see disconnect a laser. And then you feel like, oh, it's genius. Hey, it was horrible to watch.
I will jumping back to Saw before we move on. If you have an Apple TV or like buy any films, they have every Saw movie for £10 on the Apple Store at the minute.
I'll tell you a nice story with Saw. My other half, my wife, hates horror movies with a passion. Despises them, freaks her out, doesn't like it. And when we first started going out, she was too polite. She was too into it. And she goes, bring a movie around. I was like, yeah, bring a horror movie around. I don't know where I thought I was in the 80s or something, or in Teen Wolf. And I thought I was going to she's going to jump on me and it's going to be all romantic. And I don't know what I was thinking. But I brought around 1 to 3 of Saw, and we watched them back to back, right?
Yes.
4 hours of like torture and jump scenes and stuff, and she apparently was there for 4 hours not watching a TV. She was like, Yeah, it's really good. Yeah, that's a story that we like. It's our like one of our relationship stories where she's like, I can't believe I sat there for 4.5 hours and watched the movies that I hate.
Sounds like my missus, that, to be honest.
Now she'd just be like, fuck no.
Yeah.
Married for 2 years and we've been together for like 13 or 14. So like she definitely would tell me where to go now.
Not polite anymore. That's what you're saying.
It's gone.